Enzo Maresca is the new manager of Chelsea. I did a video about a month ago talking through his Leicester tactic. So in today's video, we're going to move that tactic over to Chelsea. We're going to make a couple of key signings where the squad is a little bit slim. I do actually think the squad in certain areas, in particular midfield, is absolutely designed for Enzo Maresca to come in and really lift this Chelsea side. So what I've done is made a couple of signings. We'll go through the tactical tweaks as well. And I've also played through a season today just to see how it goes in the match engine and potential problems that Chelsea may need to do further down the line in terms of squad strengthening or team strengthening. I think that's the key. The team strengthening, not the squad strengthening. All right, guys. Now, this tactic is available for the patrons. Link down in the description. It is very, very similar to the Leicester one. I've just made a couple of tweaks just to suit a couple of the Chelsea profiles a little bit better. Down in the description, link to the Patreon. You get all the tactical downloads so you can put them into your FM save yourself. With that being said, let's get into it. Any suggestions as well for future tactic videos? I'm aiming on doing a few of these over the next few weeks. I've got De Zerbi one coming out tomorrow if he was manager of Manchester United. So if you'd like to see a manager coming in, setting up in a particular style, maybe signing 3 to 5 players, putting them into the squad and seeing how it does in FM, let me know your suggestions down in the comments. Okay, so what is an Enzo Maresca tactic? Now, generally, it's a 4-3-3, very much on the ilk of Pep Guardiola, etc. So what we are trying to do is here, 4 at the back, holding midfielder, 2-8, 2 very wide wingers, and then a lone striker. Now, it does actually suit the Chelsea profile, I think, extremely well. Now, what Maresca did at Leicester, in particular, in possession, would have the inverted fullback, as you can see, and inverted wingback coming in to make a 2. The 3 defenders, because we've got an inverted fullback who would sort of like sit deep in possession and build up, would come deep. The goalkeeper, we can't move, but he would often be involved in making a little bit of a 4-2-4 kind of build up, like this, with the 2-8 getting extremely high, and often playing something similar to that with the goalkeeper in here. So that itself actually suits a lot of the squad. First key thing is the goalkeeping issue. Robert Sanchez is not of the ilk, I don't think. Petrovic isn't great with his feet. So I think, people like Mamardashvili at Valencia has been linked, but he's just not great with his feet. Tremendous shot stopper. I do actually think they will go down and they will take up the option of going for someone like James Trafford. Tremendous with his feet, young, English, fits the profile well. I think they will allow him to get him pretty cheaply. I don't know if he's got a relegation release clause or not. I do not know. However, I do think James Trafford's a decent option. People have mentioned, I think Statman Dave mentioned Mike Mignon. I don't think he's going to go leave Milan to go to a Chelsea, unfortunately, just where Chelsea are. Potentially as well, he may be linked to Manchester City if Edison moves on. So realistically, I think, I would say Jordan Pickford. Not a bad shout. However, age profile, value for money, probably James Trafford is probably the best option. Inverted wing backs. Now, you have obviously got a easy one for me in Reece James. He would be absolutely perfect for that right wing-back, inverted wing-back role. Did it on loan at Wigan. I think when he was at loan at Wigan, he actually played central midfield. I think it would also potentially help with his injury record, because in the past, they've been very aggressive with wide wing-backs and playing sort of like, as wing-backs in a back 3 or a back 5. A lot of sprints in there, which has probably not helped his injury record. Him just going in here and helping him build up in possession and then just having to do a little bit of a recovery run in here, you may actually end up seeing Reece James having less intensity sprints, and we may see more of him, hopefully, on the football pitch. Now, the right side, now I know Chelsea have 3 million defenders, and I know Tosin Adaraboyo's coming in. However, they still need one, an elite one to play on that right side, and one person that I think they've been linked to numerous times over the last couple of years, and I think because of his playing time at Barcelona in particular, I think it's time to go for Jules Koundé as a really standout signing for the team. Ball-playing defender, would be comfortable, as you said, if we move to, would be comfortable with Reece James going in there, playing as a bit of a right-back in build-up, absolutely no problem. Could also fill in that right-back role as well. Left centre-half, they've got loads of options. They've got Badiashile, Wesley Fofana if he's fit, but he is right-footed. Levi Colwell's a really good option, so they've got options there, no problem. The inverted fullback one is a difficult one, and I think it could even be the time, potentially, is it It's a difficult one. Ben Chilwell, is he going to suit this style, playing as inverted fullback? Absolutely not. He likes to get in beyond, carry, dribble, get into them final third entries, sort of like sprints into the overlapping, glow cut crosses, those sorts of things, which he's not going to be doing in this system. And I think because of how it's built up with Reece James being so good on that right-hand side, he'll want this still to be an inverted fullback like he had at Leicester. So Cucurella's done really well at the end of the season. I think even in some of the big games as well, you could go with a Levi Colwell in there to make it even more defensively solid. I think that really looks like a better back four. So Chilwell potentially, maybe some, Manchester United leader left back. I would, as a Man United fan, I would be quite happy with that because it would potentially fit our style a little bit with Dalot inverting, allowing Chilwell to go around the outside of maybe a Rashford. So that would work. A little bit of money in the bank. Now midfield is where it absolutely suits Chelsea to the ground. So deep line 6, for me, there's an argument between of what you're going to do with Enzo and Caicedo. Based on what Leicester have done, with Harry Winks going in there, a little bit of a deep line playmaker is going to be a little bit too much, but a person who keeps the ball ticking, very good in possession of the ball. I do think Enzo Fernandez as a single pivot in there, dictating from deep, getting on the ball, playing those sort of like progressive passes into that final third, I do think he would be better than a Moises Caicedo. With the fact as well that Leicester did Dewsbury Hall and Moises Caicedo, Wilfred Ndidi, who went from a 6 to an 8, and very much a classic box-to-box midfielder. You could go Caicedo in there as the box-to-box, with this right-hand side being Cole Palmer. I don't want him out on the wing because the wingers, his wide position at Chelsea is very much different to the wide requirements that Enzo will want from him. The wide areas you want in direct speed, good in 1v1s, whereas we want Palmer on the ball, working as a Mazzala. Now, I've changed it from a support to an attack because I do really want him to have the freedom to get forward as much as possible. And we've got some nice little clips to show you in a minute of that, working well with this right-hand side. So we've got Mazzala on attack with him, with the instruction of dribble more. On the defender as well, I forgot to say, for Koundé, we've gone stay wider. So in possession, he stays wide. So those are the 2 player instructions for them. That also leaves us with 3 other players, like Conor Gallagher going in there. Absolutely no problem. I hope Chelsea keep hold of him, even though I do like Spurs. My dad's a Spurs fan, so him at Spurs would be pretty cool. I would actually even like him at Manchester United as a big upgrade to McTominay. Probably won't happen, but there you go. You've also got Romeo Lavia, who would be perfect as a sitter. Caicedo could do that as well. And then the Mazzala role, you could go in big games. You could go a little formation like this, where maybe Gallagher does that a little bit, Caicedo and Fernandez as a 3, with maybe then Cole Palmer coming out onto this right-hand side, or depending if he's injured. So there's lots of little options in there. You've also got someone like Chukwuemeka, who can go in there and be a Mazzala, box-to-box, absolutely no problem. So central midfield, don't sell Gallagher, you're absolutely sorted. Now the wide areas and the front 3 is a difficult one. I'm going to be honest, halfway through my playing, I've had to buy another striker. I decided to dive in January and pick someone out. Halfway through the season, I bought Ivan Toney on the basis that he would be cheapish this summer. Chelsea are not going to sign lots of players, I wouldn't have thought, because of the FFP rules. I do also think Nkunku hasn't done well in this season with me. However, the role that he would play in this side and how Maresca likes to play would actually suit him. So let's talk about the front man first. So obviously Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku. We're going to go for Nkunku up there. Now, what he does want them to do, he wants that number 9 to link play. So to drop in, to link play, and allow the wide players on either side to get in behind. Obviously, we want him on attack. We don't want him sort of like floating around too much. He still needs to get in the box. Remember, Jamie Vardy has turned his late career around. He had a tremendous season by being able to drop in and link play and not rely on those fast sprints in behind every single time. We'll still get that, yes. The goalkeeper often does go long and look for wide players and transitions in terms of kicking it long when they can. However, I do think Nkunku could fit this role. It's going to be a difficult summer for Chelsea in terms of signing. Unless they go out and sign an absolute elite striker, an Osimhen potentially. Apart from that, I would leave it to those 2 with Jackson as a little bit of a backup, I think. I don't know if Chelsea have actually got the money to go and spend 100 million on Osimhen. There's also Lukaku. If I'd have done Lukaku in this with FM absolutely loves Romelu Lukaku, but I decided to leave him out of the squad, leave him on loan at Roma. I didn't call him back. Now, the wingers, very wide, very high in terms of their playing style, very pacey. So this is why I didn't think it kind of suited Cole Palmer as much. So obviously we want to see a Cole Palmer in there, dictating the play, getting in that half space, maybe an underlap from, I think, Madueke. Now, I don't think, if anything as well, they do need to strengthen it. The whole thing about this Chelsea squad is they're just nowhere near their potential yet. You know, players like Trafford, Badiashile, Colwell, Fernandes, Caicedo, Palmer, even though he's had a tremendous season, has probably got higher in terms of how he plays, maybe tactically. He's had a tremendous season in terms of numbers. And on the left-hand side, we've got, obviously, the main man. Where is he? Who am I thinking of? Mudryk. There we go. Mudryk on the left-hand side. Absolutely stunk the place out so far. So another player, another person like that, underperforming, maybe a little bit inconsistent. Do Chelsea need to go and sign again, or do they just, maybe this is the season where they just allow these players to play? Madueke is coming to the side at the end of the season, done pretty well. He's left-footed as well, so we've got wing on attack both sides, but both with cut inside. There is also Raheem Sterling. He would be perfect, acting as a foil for each of them. So you could even go Sterling on the left, probably a better option than Mudryk right now. You've also got the option of even changing it for Nkunku going out there. Sterling can go out to the right, and then you could bring in potentially Nicholas Jackson. I've signed Ivan Toney just because he's so cheap this summer. I think one of the big clubs, anyone, Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool to a certain extent, even though they won't because they've got Nunes, but he's better than Nunes right now, and available at a relatively decent price. I think he would be absolutely perfect in dropping in there, linking play and getting in the penalty box. So there's an option. Team instructions, we've got attacking width fairly wide, positive mentality, play out of defence, yes, shorter passing, standard tempo. That needs to change as you play against certain opponents. So I've left it like that. And what I have found in some of the games when I show you that we've lost, I think we need to up the tempo. If we're playing in a low block, I think if you're playing against a team that you're not going to play deeper, get that tempo up to help us move that ball around a little bit quicker. Working to the box, in possession, counter-pressing, yes. Not so much of a counter-attacking team. Distribute to the centre-halves, slow the place down, get your shape, that positional play, giving them an extra moment to get the ball down, play out with that sort of like that 4-2 build-up, with including the goalkeeper. Out of possession, high line, high press. Very simple tactic. And as you can see, in FM, it's done all right. We've finished 6th, which is, I think, 5 points more than last season. We've only scored 63 goals, which is still, 7th. I think we undercooked the goals, and we did score a lot of goals towards the end of the season. We had a decent run at the end of the season in terms of games. We had Bournemouth, Wolves, Sheffield United, and Burnley the last 4 games. So in them last 4 games, we racked up, 6, 9, 12, 14 goals in 4 games. And it's just been a little bit inconsistent. A lot of the time as well, we've not scored. We've had 3 1-0 defeats in a row to Arsenal. Sunderland in the Cup just can't score. Brentford, we couldn't score. However, the flip side of that, we had a really difficult start to the season, losing at Liverpool. We didn't create anything. Then we played extremely well against Manchester City. Tottenham, good wins. Aston Villa, Newcastle, good wins. Struggled against Manchester United. Beat Liverpool at home. Beating Arsenal at home. We've had decent results. It's just been a little bit, as you can see by the results. 22 games out of the 38 won, which is a pretty decent return. However, we've lost 14. And a lot of those away from home when we just can't create. So if you are going to do this with FM, I would maybe even look at changing that, potentially get an elite striker for number 1. If you can go out in the game and get an Osimhen, absolutely get someone like that in. A complete forward potentially as well. It was still link play, just not as much as what this kind of real-life tactic would do. So there's an option. We probably know Chelsea need to buy an elite striker, but whether they can get their hands on one this summer will be interesting. All right, so the first little highlight I'm going to show you is us getting the ball back, and it's more of what we do with it in build-up. So as you can see, The ball's going to come back. We build. Reece James goes back. And there's our back three. Koundé coming wide, splitting the pitch, so we find Enzo really good. And then obviously Caicedo, box-to-box midfielder. I'm feeling like a Kante kind of vibe, driving at the heart of defence, someone who's going to be really good at carrying the ball. And then the second one is just to build up and using Christopher Nkunku as that number 9. So as you can see, it comes into Caicedo, pops it off to the 6. Finding Nkunku's got a nice little bit of space. We then find Raheem Sterling, 1v1, able to carry wide areas, work it across nicely, work into the box, and Enzo has a decent strike from the edge of the area. So nice little bit of build-up there. You've seen Nkunku come in and helping him build up. And this one, we end up scoring, and the role of Cole Palmer in that Mazzara on attack, hitting that half space really. We work it really nice. Madueke coming a little bit narrow, then coming out wide again, look. The run from Cole Palmer on attack, like you're going to see that so much this season from Chelsea. Working with Madueke, who then cuts in on his left foot to fire home against City. And then we've got another move, this time involving Koundé. Palmer involved again. Koundé pretty much, as you can see, playing as a right back. Look, we've got him as a centre half, but we've got stay wider in possession. Finding Cole Palmer in that space in between the fullbacks and the centre halves. Madueke coming off that flank, driving in and scoring a really good goal. This one, we work it from right to left. What Leicester like to do is suck the play over to one side and keep the winger on the other side really free. So just watch how we eventually work this ball across. Work. Caicedo in the half space, and Nkunku stays out wide. He's playing on the left wing at the time and then firing in. Sucking the play in with that overloading midfield. Leaving the 2 wide players out wide who can then potentially get a 1v1 opportunity. And the last one is what we can expect from maybe Reece James with him playing as that inverted role. So the ball goes back to Trafford, building, look, with our back 3 again. James inverted, I've highlighted him, look, comes into him. And then when he's going to have a little bit of time, he's got the quality. We know what he's like with his crossing and his picking out of passes, and he's going to be able to do that with that Madueke run, maybe even slipping in a Cole Palmer who's found a nice little space, maybe a progressive pass, good 20-yard fizzing pass along the floor into a Palmer who's found a pocket to play in, or maybe even a ball over the top for a striker, or even that Madueke or someone on that left-hand side coming in from wide to in. All right, guys, that is it. Enzo Maresca, I think there's the potential there of Chelsea doing a lot better than what they have done this season.